What's up everyone, it's Johnny from Jettle here, and I'm back with a really important video about how to improve your topic sentences. Getting your topic sentences right is one of the most important things for having a high quality essay. If you don't get your topic sentences right, the mark is already putting you in a lower band. So we want to make these sophisticated, we want to add a little bit of flair, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, what a lot of students are used to is just having a single topic sentence, one topic sentence, and then going straight into your analysis. But here's what a lot of students do, not all of them, but a lot of students who end up getting the very top marks, the state rank achievers. This is something that helped me get full marks in my essays throughout the HSC. Have a look at this diagram. Most people, as I said, will do the single topic sentence, but what a lot of students do for their essays is actually start with a conceptual topic sentence and then an elaboration sentence. So they do a two-sentence topic sentence, if you will. So they don't just do one topic sentence with the text and then go straight into the analysis with the quotes. They will introduce a concept, an idea, without mentioning the text. Some people call this a beyond text sentence. And then they will elaborate in a second kind of topic sentence where they bring in the text and detail a little bit about the context, the form, and what happens in the text based on that idea in the first sentence. So how does the text prove the concept or idea that you've actually made in the first sentence? So this structure might look completely new to you, but it's something you can experiment with. I should caveat, however, that when experimenting with it, make sure that you're timing yourself writing these out. Because for a lot of students, if you're a slower writer, it's not worth having the two sentences for the topic sentence. You're better off having a single topic sentence and getting straight into your analysis so you can cover more ground. However, if you're a faster writer, there's a clear advantage there. You can actually play with these structures and have this two-step topic sentence to introduce your ideas and the text. So in this diagram here as well, I've got an example of a two-body paragraph structure, but for a lot of you watching this, you might be doing 3 bodies or 4. I'm just doing this for simplicity. So let's look at the 3 steps specifically that you can apply to improve your topic sentences. The first step, of course, is to write that basic topic sentence that includes the text itself. So if you're studying something like Shakespeare, let's say you're doing King Henry IV, Part 1, then what you can do is you can actually mention Shakespeare and mention King Henry IV, Part 1 in the topic sentence. You're still going to introduce the idea. You still need to tell us something specific and ideally have a cause and effect element to it. So you need to start with something like, in King Henry IV, Part 1, Shakespeare demonstrates how politics is inherently performative, that people are always playing characters to maintain power. So you might have a statement like that as your first topic sentence, and I'm going to go through an example in a second. But what we then want to do, step 2, is actually remove the text, remove mention of Shakespeare from that sentence, and just make it conceptual. Conceptual means we just look at the idea. So instead of saying Shakespeare demonstrates the performativity of politics, we actually just want to say politics are inherently performative. And this can drive self-interested behavior, and this can lead to deceptive behavior. So if I just said the performativity of politics motivates self-interested behavior, or the desire for power motivates deceptive behavior, if I had a sentence like that, it's just on the concept. It's just an idea. I haven't made mention of the text. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the text in the next sentence. Now, why are we moving it out? Why is it purely conceptual? Because if it's purely conceptual, it's sharper, it's more sophisticated, and it means that you're actually demonstrating a truth that transcends the text. You are exploring ideas that are proven in the text, but that are not dependent on the text. They go beyond the text. So that's why it's called a beyond text statement. The first statement can be about the idea, the concept that could apply to other texts, that could apply to life more generally. It just so happens that Shakespeare or your author has written about it and will actually provide evidence to back up that claim. But make the claim in a way where it's not dependent on the text, and you're going to sound more sophisticated because it shows that you understand that this idea is not specific to the text, but it is proven and represented in the text. There are exceptions, of course, where you might be doing a critical study of a text and the question asks you something really specific about the text. In that case, don't worry about a beyond text statement. For Module B, say, if you're doing the HSC, Module B critical study, you might want to lead with the text. You might want to have something very specific to the text. Whereas for the common module on human experiences, that's a great module to actually lead with the concept and then have your elaboration sentence. So let's get to step 3. We're going to add a second elaboration sentence where you do introduce the text, but you're not going to bring in the quotes and analysis just yet. You're going to do that in the next sentence. In this second sentence, you want to establish how the text represents the idea in that first conceptual topic sentence. How does the text prove it? And you might actually reference something about the plot. Now, you don't want to just story tell, but you need to tell us generally what happens that actually makes this point relevant. And what's also good to add, and these are bonus points, I really would advise you do this, is try and work in context, which is why the author has represented that particular idea, and how they've represented, which means you need to include form. So how it's been written. If it's a poem, what type of poem is it? Is it a sonnet? You need to actually make explicit reference of something about the form to show how generally the text has represented this idea. So why is context, how is form, and what is that plot element, so that we know you're making a point based specifically on the text, but that earlier conceptual sentence shows that this idea goes beyond the text. So let's now look at an example of how to improve your topic sentence using this approach. Hey everyone, it's Jonny from Jettle, and if you want to check out state rank examples, band 6 analysis, step-by-step guides to constructing the perfect essays, craft of writing pieces, whatever it is that you need for your English exams, then go to jettle.com. We've put everything in one place for you so that you don't need to look any further to get everything you need to succeed in your exams. And if you want to submit a draft and get expert marking, or you want to use our marking tools to get specific suggestions on how you can improve your essays, your creative writing pieces, anytime, anywhere, make sure you sign up to Jedi today. And I'm going to take this example from Percy Shelley's poem Ozymandias. So we're going to assume that we're writing a topic sentence or 2 topic sentences for our 2 body paragraphs based on Percy Shelley's poem Ozymandias. So if you want to understand why I'm making the points I am making in these topic sentences, make sure to check out that poem. It's a very short sonnet. It's only 14 lines. So go and have a look at that now, pause the video, and then let's get into the topic sentences. Okay, so step 1 is to write a basic topic sentence. And that means that we're actually mentioning the text. In Ozymandias, Shelley exposes the human desire for an enduring legacy, as a tyrannical king attempts to preserve his memory in the form of a statue. Okay, so you can see here the first part of the sentence, after saying in Ozymandias, Shelley, we then say it exposes the human desire for an enduring legacy. That's the point we're making. That's the concept. That's the claim. The claim or the specific insight or lesson that we're making, which a topic sentence should always be doing, it's making the claim that humans, because we have an ego, because we have desire, we actually want to survive forever. Notwithstanding the fact that everyone will die, people naturally, because of their egos, want to live forever. So that's the point we're making. We're saying that the poem explores that. It explores the idea that humans actually crave to live beyond their life. And often that's in the form of being remembered, having a statue, or otherwise. So there's something innately human about that, about wanting to live forever, even if your body has died. And that's the point we're making. But you can see here in the second part of the sentence, we actually go on to say how that is represented quite specifically in the poem. We say what happens, which is a good thing. If you are only doing a single topic sentence, not doing this 2-part structure that I'm showing you as an alternative, then that would be completely fine, because now the marker knows that you understand the idea, you're expressing that idea, and you're showing generally how it is represented before going into your specific analysis with quotes and techniques and more specific points. So that would be our basic 1-sentence topic sentence. Let's have a look at this 2-sentence approach. So the first part of the 2-sentence approach is to focus on the conceptual topic sentence. So this is step 2. We're going to take away the idea from that first sentence and put it into its own topic sentence. So we've removed in Ozymandias, Shelley exposes, we've just kept the idea about there being a human desire for an enduring legacy, and we've gotten rid of the part that is specific about the text, like what happens in the text about the tyrannical king and the statue. We're not going to mention any of that. This is a beyond text point about human nature. So sentence 1 here, we've added a little bit in to flesh it out because now we've removed a lot. Despite the finitude of life, man remains vulnerable to the egotistical desire for an enduring legacy. So you can see I've added a little bit of flair now that we're extending out that first sentence because we are purely making a claim based on the idea. We haven't referenced the text yet. The idea in this sentence, if you read that to yourself, that could apply to lots of things. A lot of people would agree with that. They would say, yeah, life is short, but people do try to live forever, and that comes from the ego. Right, so that is a fundamental truth. I'm making a claim there. Man remains vulnerable to that desire. And we're implying that that is a weakness, that it's a vulnerability, which we will unpack more in the second topic sentence, because our second body paragraph is about how that is futile. It's pointless to do that, and it actually will lead to negative outcomes. Despite the finitude of life, man remains vulnerable. Great, but when are we going to bring in the text? Well, this is the elaboration sentence. Let's elaborate on it in relation to the text. So, hence, in Ozymandias, Shelley leverages the sonnet's formal structure, we're adding in form, to reflect a tyrannical king's attempt to preserve his memory in the form of a statue. Now, the part in green, the plot, is what we had in the original single topic sentence. So we've kept that part there, but what we've added in is form. We want to maximize the impact we can have in this second sentence. This is using up more words in your exam time, so you need to make sure you're doing a lot with it. You can't just have the plot if you're going to have that second sentence. Otherwise, you may as well have combined it with the first. But how you can really stand out is to have the first conceptual sentence nice and specific and sophisticated, and then the second one brings in form, plus what happens in the text that proves this point. Plus, we also are going to try and integrate context, if you can. As a general rule, it's fine to have one of the two elements there, form or context. Always good to reference what generally happens in the text that relates to this specific point. So in this case, the king attempting to preserve his memory in the form of a statue. Great reference just to show, okay, this is what you mean generally before you get into your specific quotes and analysis. But it's also important to have that other element there, the form or the context or both. You don't always have to have both because sometimes it can become too clunky, but I'm going to show you how you could do it in just a second. So make sure you understand the structure so far. The first sentence is just the idea that could be applied to other texts. The second sentence brings in the text and includes a reference to form, where we say Shelley leverages, which is a really nice verb, means uses to Shelley's advantage. Shelley leverages the sonnet's formal structure. Notice we don't just say leverages the sonnet form. We say something about it. It's the sonnet's formal structure. The structure of the sonnet form actually reflects the king's attempt to maintain order and control over his life even after he dies. That's why we're making a specific point there. We're not just saying Shelley leverages the poetic form. That doesn't tell us anything about it. So when you reference form or context, you need to say something specific. And that's why we've said Shelley leverages the sonnet's formal structure. It's an orderly structure, but there'll be some unconventional elements within it because Shelley's trying to say, no, you actually can't maintain order once you're dead. Like, you have no control. No one's going to remember you forever. So we'd bring that point into the second topic sentence. But for this first one, we're talking about how the king's trying to maintain order over his life by preserving his memory. So we have a specific point on form into the actual plot specific element, but we're not storytelling for the sake of it. We're just saying this is generally what happens, which is important to proving this point. What about context? If we want to add in context, have a look at the blue now. I've always found that adding context at the start of the sentence as a separate clause is a really effective way of integrating it without it taking up too many words. So in this case, we'll have that first conceptual sentence, then we'll elaborate and say, inspired by the Romantic era's critique of human ambition, Shelley's poem Ozymandias leverages the sonnet's formal structure to reflect a tyrannical king's attempt to preserve his memory in the form of a statue. Now, why did I do this as a separate slide? Why didn't I just show you this first? Because I also want to demonstrate that you're not meant to try and write all of this first go. This comes from a process of iteration. You have to keep improving and add in layers. Always start basic and then add in one thing at a time and play around with it, then add another thing. And then if it gets too wordy, think about rewording it, think about adding a separate sentence for that. You need to play around with the structure so it's not too clunky and so that everything flows. But don't try and get there straight away. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see students make. They look at the examples I provide, like you might be watching this video and think, oh, I don't know where to start. Well, you start with the basics. You start by just saying, Shelley explores how, you don't even have to be that sophisticated with it. Shelley explores how, and then give me a cause and effect. How the human ego causes people to want to live forever. Great, let's work with that. First of all, let's make that a little bit more sophisticated. Great, we'll reword it. Then let's add in form. Let's actually refer to the fact that it's a sonnet and think, what is it about the sonnet form that relates and reinforces the idea I'm making? Okay, great. It's the fact that it's very structured here. that relates to what we're trying to say for this particular point. And then if you can, you say, okay, now I've got that sentence, can I add in context? Maybe I can add it as a clause at the start. See how the contextual element here, inspired by the Romantic era's critique of human ambition, has a comma after it. That's the starting clause. So we've reworded it to make it work and flow. But that takes time. You have to allow time to edit things. The best students give a lot of time to this refining process. Don't expect to achieve this straight away. You need to work at it, you need to follow the steps, and you need to keep rereading over your work out loud and be doing the research to actually get these specific contextual elements and to get these specific form elements in there. And there's no excuse for that anyway. You've got Google, you've got ChatGPT, you've got Jedi, you've got everything available to actually improve these elements. So put in the work, try using this double topic sentence structure with a conceptual sentence and an elaboration, and let me know how it goes for you. But this is something that has definitely led to a lot of students getting super high marks, including state ranks. So I hope that helps. Try and apply it. Comment below with your thoughts on this particular structure for topic sentences, and I'll see you in the next one.